يا ربي يا نبي نديك.
And welcome back. You're listening to Urban Women. It's time for our Mums, Bums, and Little Ones segment. We are live on Facebook. If you want to catch this whole segment or listen to it again, of course, our beloved Master Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, at every womb, Allah Azza wa Jal appoints an angel who says, O Lord, a drop of semen. O Lord, a clot. O Lord, a little lump of flesh. Then, if Allah Azza wa Jal wishes to complete its creation, the angel asks, O Lord, will it be male or female, a wretched or a blessed? And how much will his provision be? And what will his age be? So, all that is written, that is while the child is still in the mother's womb, subhanAllah, and this is in Bukhari. And we're going to be talking about that, exactly that. This topic is, how does mum's stress actually impact on the unborn child? So while the taqdeer is written and so many things are happening, we're going to be looking at mum and what she goes through and how that's going to be affecting the body of the baby as well. And we are joined by a wonderful guest, Dr. Razia Iram Osman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back.
Wa alaikum salam, Razia. It's so good to hear your voice again and to be on Radio Al Ansar.
Alhamdulillah. Now, you know what, Nazia? Let's face it, when women are pregnant, the body just goes through so many things, you know. And I think you and I and many mums out there, or women who had babies, they would know that, like, magically, once you give birth, the body just normalizes, right? And you go through so many different things. So maybe we can just chat about the changes that the woman's body goes through that actually impacts her emotions.
So I think we are, as women, quite, let's say, victims of our hormones very often. And when a woman gets pregnant, her body goes through lots of changes. And these changes in hormones can cause, as I think many of our brothers know, these mood swings where she can be crying, she'll cry very easily, and then she'll be angry, and then she'll be happy and excited again. And there's a heightened emotional sensitivity. Most women become very sensitive, where something you would say normally wouldn't impact them, but when they are pregnant, it can get them into bouts of tears.
Right.
But I think also the physical changes, like gaining weight or feeling nauseous all the time, tired, the stress and anxiety. I hope everything is okay. You can't see the baby all the time.
Yeah.
Only after a certain time the movement comes in. There's those worries about that. The restrictions come in. You can't go here. You can't do this. All of that, the changes in the body, energy, mood, expectations, and also the relationship as well, because it's not just now the two of you carefree.
Yeah.
When she is with child, a different set of expectations come in. So all of that impacts on the lady's or the woman's mood.
Absolutely. Now, we're all about managing emotions, and this is sometimes where we struggle. And, emotions are energy in motion. There's this energy going out, and obviously we need to be able to control it. But when it's happy emotions, obviously we're all good. When it's the positive ones, let's talk about the negative ones. What are the common negative emotions that pregnant women would experience?
Yeah. And I always think of emotions as almost unwanted guests. We don't invite them.
Yeah.
Most of
Just
them
pitch
come
up.
at their own accord, right? We all want happiness. That's the one we go chasing after.
Yeah.
But the rest of it just comes, especially things like anxiety, insecurity. And I think pregnant women are prone to this. Their bodies are not feeling, or as they used to before. When they start looking, is my husband looking this way or that way or whatever? So they start feeling a lot of anxiety, insecurity, self-doubt. Will I be a good mother? Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah.
Some of them can be very prone to sadness, anger, irritability, all of these things, or how will I be able to afford a child? What will this mean to me? Can I go back to work? All of these things impact on a woman's moods. And then, yes, she is prone a little bit more to negative emotions.
And that can really take over. I mean, everything you've said is so real. And then that self-doubt and the judgments. And of course, we know then how it can be once the baby arrives, if obviously, I think, not dealt with. But I want to ask you this big question. Whatever obviously the mother is eating and experiencing filters down through to the baby. So what about maternal stress? What would you say? How does it impact the fetus, the development? What would you say about that?
Yeah. So look, maternal stress definitely can impact fetal development.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, I don't want the moms to go get nervous about this because all of us have some stress in our lives that we can't control.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about an overwhelming stress or a chronic stress where the mom goes, I can't deal with this. Now, that's the kind of stress I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Prolonged or severe stress
Uh-huh.
that impacts the neurodevelopment of the baby, which means the formation of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, this can have long term consequences.
Mm.
So, if moms are in very distressing situations, if they are having intense emotions, if they are highly stressed, studies have found that those are the children who can have higher levels of course, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
because not only their brain develops differently, their nervous system develops differently. ADHD, they struggle to concentrate, and mood disorders like depression and bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain of these children, when the moms are extremely stressed out, develops such that the part of the brain that feels, that part is it's over responding.
Mm.
And the part that is thinking and rational and says, okay, well, we'll get through it, that part is not as strong.
Look at that.
And the nervous system, the part that deals with stress, becomes overly attuned or overly wired.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a child that is also prone to stress then.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So this is how, yeah. But I mean, of course, there is hope, right? I mean, inshallah, even if the mom is stressed out, but after that, they are calmer, or the child maybe goes for therapy, or the child has safe relationships, then you start teaching the child how to pay attention, or how to regulate themselves, or how to manage their stress and anxiety. So there is always hope. But just be aware of this chronic, overwhelming stress, because that is really detrimental to your child.
That is so important. And I think it's so nice if all mothers can be informed of this, the moment they find out you are pregnant. So inshallah, they can try their best to manage things. As you said, stress is there. And sometimes, obviously, we can't control things. But I think when you know that there's this little life being born in you, then you're going to take this extra kind of care to make sure that you can self-regulate, you can calm yourself down, maybe do some extra breathing, shift the mindset, because you know that basically this is going to form part of the blueprint of your child. And
But that's the thing, Razia, for physical conditions we do it, like the mom will eat healthy and she won't eat certain types of food, or but for the mental health or the emotional, that's where we neglect it.
100%.
And we don't take, but that's also important.
Yeah, and then I think it's also important, as you said, that there is hope after that, to understand how it's like the soil. What soil was this child, what soil did she sprout or he sprout up in? So to have that kind of understanding, so then you know how to help the child. Because I think many times you can just say, snap out of it. Why can't you be like this other person? But the child himself doesn't even understand why they're wired in such a way. And as you're talking, it just triggers my memory to when I was in school. I went to MMSG, Marisburg Muslim School for Girls, and I remember our Mulana always told us, if you want a Bollywood actress while you're pregnant, girls, sit in front of the TV.
Watch all the movies.
Yeah. And then you can, they'll be notching out, obviously, of the womb. But if you want somebody pious, he said, read a lot of Quran. And I try that, obviously, we want to do whatever we can during pregnancy. But some things are beyond us. And of course, alhamdulillah, there's ways after that, as you say, therapy, there's ways to help your child. But that understanding of what you go through during your pregnancy and how it impacts your baby, I think is the foundational point. Nazia, if we can actually say what specific, we've been talking about emotions and we've been talking about fear and stress and things like that. What about those specific mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, PTSD? What do you have to say about those conditions and how it affects the baby?
Of course. So listen, of course, the mom's mental state can have an impact on the unborn child, not just because, she's going through this and mentally it'll also like absorb or something like that. No, the care that she would take of herself, the people she would surround herself by, those also have an impact.
Yeah.
But if moms who have been found to have been depressed, for some reason, they have preterm babies, it seems. The babies can come out faster or at a younger age. They have lower birth weight. And some of them can have developmental delays. And of course, that's what I'm saying. The mom who's depressed is not taking care of herself.
Yeah.
She's not going out as much. She's not surrounding herself by good people. Maybe she's not making tilawat of the Quran. Because when you're depressed, you have no energy for any of that.
Yeah.
Interesting, moms that have PTSD, their children are born with a heightened stress response. So these are the babies that are very reactive to noise and very reactive to like what's going on and very attuned to other people's emotions and their expressions.
Right.
So how interesting is that?
Yeah.
That when the mom has PTSD, it's almost like the child comes with that. The world is unsafe.
Yes.
And it also impacts how the child bonds with the mother.
So true.
So the child is actually, because I mean, if you look, even if a child is born, they can see 30 centimeters, which is from, basically you look at the height from the breast to the mom's face.
Yeah.
They are tuned at that point to see mom's face. And if mom is reacting and responding with, oh, it's unsafe, or the mom's heart is beating faster while she's feeding the child, the child's already getting those messages, the 100%. World is unsafe.
100%.
But now we're saying even in utero, they're coming with those kind of awareness or that kind of attunement. Also anxiety. Moms who have anxiety, severe anxiety, their children have been found to have behavioral problems later on in life.
Okay.
So those are the children that act out or who are easily triggered or have what we call anger issues.
Right. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
Makes a lot of sense.
I think as we are listening to this, it's so important that we also reflect as adults and wonder, how was my mum's pregnancy? What did I go through during fetal life? What if obviously we want to understand certain things that are just be not normal, and maybe if you are the type that gets triggered a little bit more. Now, Razia, let's talk about the dads. I think, all blame can't just be on the mother. The mother is the incubator. She's carrying that lovely little bundle for 9 months, and obviously what she's going through filters down. But I'm sure that the dad and his emotions has some effect on the baby and fetal life. What would you say?
Yeah, I think dads want to just go like, no, this is just the mom's thing.
It's
but
all on her.
Dads also have an impact. So obviously their level of stress and how they speak to their wives, or the impact that, so when they're speaking to their wives, the wife's heart is beating faster, or her bodily system is going through something, or cortisol levels are going up if she's stressed out, and baby can start feeling uncomfortable in utero if the mom and the dad don't have a good relationship. Can you believe that? So the relationship with the dad is forming in utero, where the baby goes, am I safe with you or not? And if the more supportive and emotionally stable the father, the mom also feels good, but the child also picks up, am I going to be safe with you? And they say from 32 weeks in utero, the baby becomes familiar with dad's voice. It's obviously earlier for mom, but becomes familiar with dad's voice because you assume that's the voice you're going to be hearing.
Right.
And they can, even though it's muffled through all the amniotic fluid and whatever, they can still recognize their father's voice. So if the father's voice is coming screaming, stressed out, that child is already picking up. This is not a safe voice.
Yeah. So it's so important then. Quickly give a message to the fathers out there. Quickly, Razia, tell them.
So, I've listened to this now. I went and did research, right? Do you know scans actually show that if a father or anybody is screaming, the child in utero flinches, covers ears, turns away, heart rate increases. So dads, your voice matters even when the baby is in. So please, be kind.
Be kind. It makes so much of sense, because if the dad is screaming, not in an emotional balanced state, naturally the mom's chemical responses in the body is going to be different, and the child's going to pick up all of that. So then it's going to link the voice to those experiences as well. Hence, as you said, research was done, and that makes so much of sense because it is alive in the womb.
But here's the thing. I think personality and subconscious mind, that's the formation that's happening in the womb.
There we go.
So be careful, parents. Try to be as calm and expose yourself to the good sounds, because that personality and subconscious mind is forming there.
And the subconscious mind makes up 80%, so you really don't know what's there. Psychologists, Razia, you guys say we have about how many thousand thoughts in the day? About 65,000, and we're only aware of about 5%. So imagine you have to be conscious all the time to catch what's there. But as you are talking, and saying at 32 weeks, the fetus recognizes the voice, even though it's muffled. That is why Malana also taught us that the dads should recite Quran aloud, because when the baby is born, then the mom obviously is not in a state of reciting. So the dad needs to recite then, and that also heightens that bond and that connection. So subhanAllah, our deen is so beautiful. I can go on. I'm just looking at the time. Allahu Akbar, it's 10:59. It's time for news. Razia, we never ever have enough time, but quickly you take a message to our urban women listeners this morning.
Okay, for the sake of your baby and yourself, please take care of your physical and mental health. And if you're prone to depression and anxiety, please do not suffer. Get your help early. And I think, yes, listen to your zikr, listen to your Quran. This is amazing for your baby's health and mental well being. That's my final message.
Thank you. You just went like on autopilot there. Jazakallah khair. We appreciate that in consciousness of our time. And yes, your baby is your amanat. So even though you may think I don't have to take care of myself, once you have a little soul growing in you, it's an amanat and your responsibility enhances and changes. Jazakallah khair. Dr. Razia Iram Osman, always wonderful chatting with you. Until then and until we connect again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
يوما وليس سواه في الأكوان باقي وما كل السقاط له بساق شراب الحب يعرف بالمذاق وما كل السقاط له يحب الله عن أدب وصدق ولا يرضى سوى تقوى خلاقي.
Urban Woman, sponsored by Vada Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold, diamond, and platinum jewelry.